Today we are at Pepe, the butter company, one of the, if not the best artisan butter maker in Australia. And Pierre, Issa, the owner, with his wife Melissa, has kindly accepted me in their offices to do a little bit of a chat. So, Pierre, could you tell us how did you come about making butter? Because I'm sure that was not the originally intention of your life.
Yeah. Well, welcome. Good to have you here, Jean-Marie. I think like most things in life, or it's sort of unpredictable, isn't it?
Yes.
You do fall into things without planning them, and this was one of those things. Like, I didn't wake up one morning and say, "Okay, today we're going to make butter, and I'm going to make a business out of it." It's definitely not as easy as that. But the main thing I can tell you is what really did spur me to make butter is that when we did a bit of research onto the butter scene in Australia, we did find that a lot of the chefs and the bakers were using imported butter. And when you think about Australia as what we do well, we have a very large dairy
Industry?
Yeah, industry, and we are a dairying country.
Mm-hmm.
When you think of Australia and the south of Australia, it's very rich lands and high in grass and so on. So we do have a very good dairy industry, and it just perplexed me as to why butter wasn't, like, people didn't regard Australian butter as a very high quality product. So when you think about a chef, as a restaurant goer, you expect that restaurant to have the best on the table for you as the consumer. So it's the chef's responsibility to purchase the best possible ingredients.
Sure.
And they were buying European. We're very distinct in Australia in our culture that for most Australians, it's not about let's buy Australian just because it's Australian. They will buy best in class.
Sure.
And this is something that we were able to make as one of the pillars of our business philosophy. That for you to succeed in the Australian market, you have to be best in class. That has got to be it. It's not enough that you're buying the cream from here and whatever you're doing with it. You have to make the best you can.
Yeah. And so I believe we've met very early in the piece at the Piedmont market.
Yes.
And that would have been about 7 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
So what were the difficult steps at the beginning? Because any business, I know, it's ramps up in stages, and it's not always plain sailing. So what were the milestones and the obstacles you had to overcome to be where you are today, which is an enviable position?
Look, the first 4 years, so we started in November 2010. The first butters were sold, so that's when we started selling. So that really is the start of the business, November 2010. And then, so now we're 7 years on. The first 3 to 4 years would have been the most difficult, convincing people, one, to give Pepe butter a go to start with, and then to explain to people what cultured butter is. So unlike France, for example, where they have a very strong butter culture, they differentiate their butter in 2 categories. You've got the butter you buy at a supermarket, which is wrapped in foil, and it's a supermarket grade butter. And then you have the beurre de barain, which is the churned butter, which is wrapped in paper and it has a 2-week shelf life.
Yeah.
You go out in Australia with a product that has a 2-week shelf life, no one's going to stock it, no one's going to buy it. Like, it's very difficult to do that because we have a different culture, we have a different appreciation of food, we have a different scope altogether.
Yeah, the
right?
size of the country as well
The
means
size
the
of the country.
distribution
Yeah,
is complicated.
how do you send a 2-week a butter expiring in 2 weeks to Perth?
Yeah, exactly.
It takes a week and a half to get there.
Yeah.
By freight, So our biggest challenges were to explain what cultured butter is, how we're different to the normal butter on this supermarket shelf, and what is our value proposition for a consumer to pay more.
Yeah.
Because our costs are much higher. We're a small company, it's handmade, it's cultured, it's aged for 3 weeks, so we're holding on to a significant amount of cream and storing that. From the time the cream comes in to the time the butter leaves here is a 5-week period. So
you have to finance all that, obviously.
That's right. We have to finance it. We have to. It's real estate. We have to pay for because it's got to sit somewhere. We're in the heart of the city, so we're paying premium rents. We don't have machinery, so it's labor. So increased orders means increased labor, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Where we don't have a machine that pumps out this stuff at 1,000 units a minute. So it's a slow food.
So in that framework, I can see from my point of view 2 things that may have been a big help in ramping the business to another level. One is obviously your association with Qantas, that even though it's probably not a big money maker, it's an image thing. And 2 is the explosion, I was going to say, of social media. So any comments to say?
Yeah, I guess when we started in 2010, we latched onto social media as the new way of communicating. There's no doubt about it. If you look at our business model, you will see that we have a communication model put in place that obviously we've had a lot of help developing. Now, the communication model that we have is how do we get people to see us, taste us, buy us? So it's fairly simple, but what channels do we use? So Qantas has been an amazing partner, and so have all our customers that brand our product on the table or tell people this is Pepe, because people are getting to try it.
Yeah.
So that's the first step. Second step is the authenticity of this product is delivered to customers via the farmers markets, because we follow a charter, and this cream is sourced in a certain way, and we make the product a certain way, and we deliver it to the markets, where we're able to have big wheels of butter and get them to try the butter, and people are putting it in their mouth and trying it. So it's try before you buy.
Exactly.
So you go to a restaurant, you try Pepe, you're on a plane. It's not like you have a choice of 5 different butters. They're offering you Pepe and you get to try it.
Yeah.
So I think Qantas has played a big role. The Rockpool group played a massive role. Aria played a massive role. All our customers.
And I was going to ask you about that. I mean, obviously, there are a number of very famous chefs that are using your butter.
Yes.
Either on the table or probably in cooking as well.
That's right.
There are also a number of bakers now that are using your product, like. And
the
I know
bakery
you have actually designed a product specifically for them.
That's right.
Specifically for them.
That's right. So we've always had the approach that go to the customer and ask the customer what they want. The chef, the baker, Mrs. Jones. Yeah. What is it that you want? And it's a segmentation of one. So I want my butter delivered on a Wednesday to Rose Bay with a pink ribbon. Okay, why not? You need to be able to do that as a business function. And then obviously you have a lot of cost prohibitive issues that come up because the country's so big, and distribution or packaging or even post costs so much money. So you have a lot of challenges, but the important thing is to get rid of your too hard basket and try to make it happen.
So now that you're kind of established, Um, what do you think as the next step? And maybe before or together with that question, how much influence your business will get out of the trip we did together?
Yeah, so the trip to look, there's no doubt that the epicenter of butter in the world is still France. There is no doubt about it. I mean, you have something like 350 artisan butter makers in one country. I mean, in Australia we have 5.
Yeah.
You know, like it's unbelievable. Naturally, I've always wanted to go and see how the butter was made there, and what it is that makes it so unique, and so on. So the trip we did with you, which was amazing, to Normandy, Brittany and Vendée, really opened my eyes up to a different way and different styles of butter that they have in France, which is unbelievable. I'm sort of glad that I didn't do it at the beginning of the butter. So we've called it Australian cultured butter.
Yeah.
Never seen the French butters being made or ever researched it. So Pepe has taken on a very Australian style from the beginning. And I'm glad I've seen it now, because this, obviously it's going to influence a lot of things that I do moving forward. But I know I'm not going to change my style or the Australian style.
Definitely not.
So, I mean, anyone that's ever had the Pepe will recognise that it's very, very unique in flavour, texture, packaging. Like, it's just unique, and it's unique to this environment that we're in.
So any project to export to France?
No, look, I mean, I always tend to say things and then they come back and bite me. At this present time, we were meant to start our export in 2018, and we've been gearing up to that for some years now. Since 2014, we've been gearing up within a 4-year plan to start exporting to, you know, Asia or you know, well, New Zealand would be good, wouldn't it? To you know, start getting the butter out there. I mean, as a direct partners to Pepe would be Asia and our closest neighbours. But when you think about New Zealand or England or America, I see no point in exporting there. I see a great way if the brand is big enough to license the brand to make it the same way. I mean, that would be the most viable way, the most realistic way of doing it. Like, why would you? It goes against our ethos as a company to export to New Zealand when they've got beautiful dairy there. Make it there. Make this style of butter there under this label. You know, and call it New Zealand cultured butter churned by Pepe.
I think that's a very good.
Or British cultured butter churned by Pepe. I mean, that would be.
I think we're going to get comments from our Kiwi neighbours.
No, they're great. We've got a lot of friends that are making butter in New Zealand, and they're doing a great job. So lucky. It's a funny thing in the cheese and butter world. You end up with a lot of friends everywhere. As you and I.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
When we were in France visiting the butter makers, we made a lot of friends. Yeah, right?
Definitely.
And they're friends for life.
Yeah,
you know?
And I think that was even for myself, that, you know, I have no real handle into that side of things. It was phenomenal to see how well received we were, and how people were absolutely passionate about what they're doing, and how they were willing to share with you, you know, all their secrets, really.
Yes.
And they had absolutely no qualm about it, and I thought it was fantastic.
That's right.
And I thought it was probably, apart from us as a group having a lot of fun, it was probably the best part of the trip, is the connection we've made, the interaction, and see that, you know, we could see people doing 5 kilos of butter a week in a manual machine, to Pascal doing
6 tons.
6 ton a
Yeah.
week, you know, with at 500 kilos in one machine,
Exactly.
in one go. And I think for you that was giving you a way forward as well, so looking at the machinery that they use and maybe use some of, or
Yeah.
replicate some of that to grow.
Absolutely.
And I think, you know, I've learned a lot. I didn't know half of the breeds of cows that we met. I've relatively recently learned from Christian from La Planchette Berbiguier, who imports only fermier cheese, that this fermier appellation is very special.
Yes.
And we saw a number of people that were actually labeled like that, where to have that label, you have to produce the milk and treat the milk and make the butter in one company. And,
Yes.
and not only one company, but actually physically in the same place.
Yep.
So, which is obviously something that at the moment you can't do, because you buy the cream from supplier.
Yeah, so I mean, our long-term vision for Pepe is definitely to have the farm.
Yeah,
but we
vertical
make no secret of that. At the moment, in building, we're still in the building stages of our business. So at the moment, our resources need to go into the market rather than going into a farm.
Yeah.
Which grows our market share in a way, because our dream has always been and always will be to become a household name in Australia. So when people go to buy a butter, they can trust buying Pepe because for one reason and one reason alone, it's going to taste bloody great, you know. And that's the only function of butter.
Yeah.
It's like, what is the function of cheese? The flavor, the pleasure,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
As the French say,
Absolutely.
the only function of cheese is the pure pleasure of eating cheese.
True.
That is it.
Absolutely true.
So we would like to see Australians go, as what I said at the beginning, if we can achieve the best in class, which we're set and we really want to be known for, best in class, they will have no reason but to buy a local product. And then there'll be other Australian producers of butter that will come along and share the same philosophy. And then there's more choice locally supporting our economy and our country, and you know.
Well, there's a big rule of marketing that says that the size of the market is proportional to the number of its actors. So
That's
the more
exactly
competitors you at your level you actually entice to go into business,
That's
the better
exactly right.
people will
The
look
more
at
people
butter,
will
and
be-
the more people will buy
Exactly.
from you as well as the other
Exactly.
one. I mean, there's a great story, it's a French story obviously,
Of course.
of course.
But of course.
You know, when the SNCF started the high-speed train, the TGV, a lot of the nationalized airline companies started to fight against, you know, the TGV going to the same routes as in Lyon and Nantes and stuff. And what happened is actually both traffic grew as a
Yes,
result
that's
of
right.
having the choice of going
Yes,
to
that's
Lyon
right.
in the train or in a plane.
Absolutely.
And I think it's exactly the same for you guys.
So it's interesting times for butter in the world at the moment. Obviously, we're 2017, so there's a bit of a butter crisis around the world, but that'll ease and things will go back to normal, and you know.
Yeah, it's only
It's only
temporal.
time.
Yeah.
It's time. It's only time.
And so, if you were to integrate the production of the milk in your business model, then would you branch into making cheese or selling, obviously, the lait cru, or
Look,
do you think that at one point Australia will open up to the idea of having cru butter
yes,
and
yes,
cru
yes.
milk
I
and,
mean,
and
it
pasteurized?
is-
I mean, for the people that don't.
It is all to do with time. Raw milk production in Australia there's a massive push towards raw milk. Eventually the guard will change, and new thinking comes in, new science comes in to eradicate any bad pathogens that might be in the milk. So Listeria is the biggest one, E. coli. So these things can be eradicated with science. So what we need to do is we need to use science to our advantage, keep the goodness in, take the bad out, and then keep it raw.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, as we move forward in this world where many of us share the opinion that the one thing that should not be touched and should stay pure is our food and water.
Definitely.
Technology, I'm all for it. We need to progress. Our thinking, our attitudes in life have to be progressive, because we change the shape of the world. But when it comes to food, what you put in your body, wow.
What you eat is what you are.
It's been proven time and time again. The rawer the state of the food, the more pure it is, the better it is for us, the better we feel.
Yeah.
The more we smile,
Yeah.
you know? People that eat butter are the happiest people in the world. It's a true thing.
I can't remember the statistics exactly. It looks like in France that people eat like 25 or 30 kilos of butter a person a year or something like that. I mean, it's just like amazing. And
they're all very happy outside of Paris.
It's true. Well, Paris is, there's a population of Australia in Paris, so
That's right.
It's a bit difficult to put all these people together and make them smile.
It's okay, we're just doing a generalization, as we do.
All right. Well, look, Pierre, thank you very much for having us, and
No problem at all.
again, thank you for trusting us with your trip. We had an amazing time. And that was really a great time of my life. So thank you for that. And then we will see each other again at the market soon, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
No
Thank you
problem.
very much.
Thank you.